Good morning, boys and girls. It's Miss Emery, and today we're going to be starting a new unit in reading, and we're going to be reading nonfiction books. So we're switching from fiction to nonfiction books, okay? And nonfiction texts, they teach, inform, and explain real things. So we're learning about real information, and we're learning facts about whatever topic we are reading about. And here are some examples of nonfiction books. We have planets, penguins, and tornadoes. Now, all of these books show us a real photograph, so it's not a story, it's not a pretend story. This is real information about planets, penguins, and tornadoes. So when you're choosing a book today, you need to make sure that you are choosing a nonfiction book, not a fiction book, okay? So today, I want to remind you that reading nonfiction isn't all that different from reading fiction. Nonfiction readers use all the same strategies as fiction readers do as they get ready to read. Now, let's go back and think about what are some ways that we get ready to read. We take a sneak peek to start learning. Now, when we are looking at a nonfiction book, we need to make sure we look at the title page, the title, the author, the cover, and we can look at a few pages and look at the pictures to think about what we are learning about. Okay, so today I chose this book, Elephants, to practice taking a sneak peek of a nonfiction book, right? So we're going to look at the cover and we're going to think about what are we going to be learning about in this book. Now, just from this photograph of elephants, I know we're going to be learning about elephants. I'm also thinking that maybe we might be learning about the body parts of an elephant, like what do they use their trunk for, their tusks for, their ears for, right? And maybe we might be learning about where do elephants live. That could be a question that might come up in this book, okay? So now that we looked at the cover, let's look at the table of contents. Now, I know this is a long time ago, but when we have a nonfiction book, there is usually a table of contents that tells us the different chapters and it helps us think about what we are going to be learning about in this book, okay? So let's read the table of contents. We have chapter 1, all about elephants. Now they have your turn, which is like an activity for you to do. Chapter 2, families, your turn. Chapter 3, body parts. Chapter 4, what elephants need and where elephants live. So just by looking at this table of contents, I'm already thinking about other things we might be learning about. We might be learning about elephant families, right? We might be learning about what elephants need because there are chapters about it, right? And where elephants live might be another thing that we can be learning about in this book, okay? So that's why it's so important to take a sneak peek and to think about what we are going to be learning in this book. Okay, so let's start with the first page. Let's look at the first page and we're looking at the different pictures, right? And chapter 1 says all about elephants. Okay, so let's read this first section together and see what we can be learning about in this book. An elephant is the biggest animal that lives on land. An adult elephant is much bigger than a truck and can weigh up to 14,000 pounds. A baby elephant is bigger than an adult cheetah. It eats a lot and grows more every day. So just looking at these pictures, I see how big an elephant is, and it's saying that it's much bigger than a truck. Okay, let's go to the next page. There are two kinds of elephants, African elephants and Asian elephants. Although they have the same body parts, there are some differences. They are not the same size. African elephants are much bigger. And by looking at this picture, I can see that an African elephant is much bigger than an Asian elephant. So we're already learning so much new information. An Asian elephant has a rounder head with a large bump on top. Not all Asian elephants have tusks, but all African elephants do. An elephant's tusk is like a large tooth. It grows as the elephant gets older. Now over here I can see some labels and I see that this is a tusk and they're pointing to it. So we know that an elephant's tusk is like a large tooth. So I'm going to stop here today, and if you want to continue reading this book, you can go on to Epic and search elephants, and that book should come up. But your activity today is to pick a nonfiction book to read. You can pick it on Raz Kids, or epic, or if you have a nonfiction book at home, but make sure it is nonfiction, right? Take a sneak peek of your book. You're going to look at the cover, table of contents, and pictures, right? Just like we did today. Write down what you learned from taking a sneak peek and post it onto Class Dojo. So here's my example. You're not going to pick elephants because that was my example, okay? So I have the title of my book, Elephants, and I learned elephants are one of the biggest animals on land, okay? So you make sure that today you are taking a sneak peek and you're writing down what you learned from your nonfiction book, okay? Have fun reading.